What if we built global movements around things that are very frightening to us, around ending wars, around helping economic things go better? What if we did that together? What if we just decided, let's get it done?
Hey, Destiny Builders. Welcome to another episode of Million Dollar Destiny, where we help you tap into the frequency of money, wealth, and legacy as you fulfill your destiny. Every week, we bring you top-notch experts who are already living their destiny and at a high level of success so that you can do it too. Today in this world, I know that you are looking around and you're looking at the injustices or the just outright unrighteousness happening all around us globally, at home and abroad. And you're like, come on, we can do better than this. If that is you and you have this fire in your gut or in your heart, and you're a problem solver, when you look at these situations and you're like, this is so easy to solve, you are the person we are talking to on this show, and especially today, because I'm bringing you someone who grew up as a little girl eating from dumpsters, homeless, to becoming a woman who has left a legacy across the globe, touching over 3 million women and girls in 145 countries. How did she do that? She's a best-selling author, speaks in all different locations and stages. This is someone you're going to want to listen, lean in, press in, and take down notes, because she could just be the mentor you are looking for. This is Celeste Mergens. This episode, man, she drops so many countless golden nuggets. You're going to want to watch this again and again. Let's check it out. Hi, Celeste.
Hello.
Thank you so much. I know you are traveling all over the place promoting your best-selling book right now. You've accomplished so much in your life, so thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thank you. I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
Me too. This is going to be juicy. So as you look at your life, how pleased and shocked, how do you feel when you look back at your life right now?
I see the proof of all the wonderful things to come. I see the proof that when we think something is one way, it's often just the doorway for something else. And really the evidence of all that's happened in my life is proof of the power of we. When we come together, amazing things happen. And I would say also the proof of humility, of being focused and grateful, and accept that amazing things that can happen in your life are just at the door if you just ask and open it. And for me, that has been phenomenal to watch what happens when you do that. So at this point in my life, I don't feel like the legacy's done, or that I actually feel like it's a process, and one that I love being part of every single day.
Wow. Let's rewind and start in your childhood, because I feel like your story is so absolutely mind-blowing, and what you've been able to be resilient, to overcome and transform and create is so inspiring, but not just to be an inspiration to the viewers, but at the end of this episode, for everyone to have key takeaways. And at the later portion, make sure you guys stay to the end, because we're going to have lots of golden nuggets and key takeaways all throughout. So go back and tell us about your story of how it all started.
Sure. I was born into a family that was struggling. There was mental health issues. There was a lot of moving. I moved 32 times before I was 13 years old. And sometimes we were without a home. And I had moments all along the way that invited me to either believe that I was those circumstances or focus on what could be instead. And I was really so blessed, because I have been a woman of faith from childhood. And by that, I mean, I always knew and could feel that we are not our circumstances. And one of those moments was one that unexpectedly you would not think of as a good thing. In fact, I used to think of it as the worst thing ever. I was about 5 years old. I was walking along the sidewalk of a state park we were living in at that point. We just stop along the way. And I was hungry. And I ran into a woman who was throwing a half-eaten apple into a garbage bin near where I was standing. And I looked in and I was trying to decide if I could get into the dumpster and still get back out. Had just decided I would not be able to get back out when I noticed she was looking me up and down. She said, "Where are your shoes, girl?" And I said in the moment, and I remember because I played it over and over again over my life. I used to think of her as Cruella de Vil, from the movie. And I was standing there and I said, "I'm toughening my feet." And in that moment, it was like a mirror turned around and I felt what I felt she saw when she looked at me. I could see that she saw me as unkempt and dirty and poor. And I felt those things in that moment. I felt small and ashamed. And then all of a sudden I had this feeling inside me. Are you the poor girl? Are you the homeless girl? Are you the hungry girl, or are you something else? And in that moment, I know that it was a gift, but it took me like 40 years to figure that out, to recognize that in that moment at such a young age, I got to be asked, "Are you your circumstances?" And I got to decide we are not. And I wanted to tell her that, but she was already walking off. But that echo, I'm not saying everything changed. And after that, I had all the confidence in the world. That wasn't it. But that seed just kept growing. And I wanted everyone to know they're not the circumstances that they live in, and that we are so much more than that. That was the gift in that moment. And from that moment, I look for ways to help others recognize that about themselves, that we cannot look at circumstances right now and say that those are the seeds for what's to come, because that is not true. The seeds for what is to come are born of those deep yearnings in you, the things that bring you joy, the things that you go, "Oh, I have always loved that." That's where the seeds are. And I believe that if you match that with a willingness to have the spirit of God or universe or whatever you see, I see it as God, to magnify that, look out, because what we have in mind is way smaller than what God would have in our life. And it's been amazing.
Wow. That is such a poignant story. So did you know in that moment as a child when you had that experience, you're saying you had a moment and you realized you made the decision then that
Yeah.
you are not your circumstances?
Oh, 100%. I just
Wow.
knew we are not what we're going through. And this actually informed the global work that I do today, because I recognize when I walk into, a president's office, a minister of education or gender, or I'm walking with someone in a place that people are unsheltered, I know that this is not what we're doing together is about the possibility of what happens when we create together. It's not about any one of us. It's about this beautiful adventure that we're on this earth together for, and all that is possible. So for me, it just wakes me up early in the morning to go, what else could we create that are the things we really want? We are not limited. We are not limited except by our own ability to fail to ask or fail to see a vision of what could be more, or fall for the messages from people that you can't. Who do you think you are? What makes you capable of doing that? What qualifies you? Don't listen to that, because your qualifications, your circumstance, none of that is a barrier. The only thing that is truly a barrier is our failure to see how magnificently, perfectly your circumstances, talents, weaknesses, even, and strengths can come together with others to create the very thing your heart yearns for. You would not have it in your heart if it wasn't part of your path. I believe that, and I've seen it coming true. And you can look at my life, the book I wrote, to see that is, in my experience, the case. And I love helping people see and recognize that and be part of what they want to create in this world.
I love it. You're doing so many big things in the world right now. Let's first talk about your book. And then your book is is also about the global project that you created. So I guess we'll talk about it hand in hand. Tell us about your best-selling book. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. It's called The Power of Days, and
Amazing.
a story of resilience, dignity, and the fight for women's equity. Why women's equity? Because I got the gift of really learning about the issue of girls not having what they needed during their periods. And in the case of what I learned, I was working in Kenya. Every 6 months, we would arrive and work on a project that helped more education and health and water and agriculture happen. And then learned that they were without the orphanage I helped when I came through from town, were without a food or resources and had been for days because of post-election violence, where a country didn't believe the outcome of a vote, and 500,000 people were displaced in the anger that followed. And these children, the orphanage was up to a reported 1,400 kids. Impossible to have that many in that space, but they were hungry. They were lacking everything. We'd sent all the resources we could. I had nothing more to send when I learned they'd been without food for a few days. And you know why that hit me to the core.
That's
I
right.
was, please tell me what to do. I will do anything. Please give me inspiration. Nothing came to me until I woke up at 2:30 in the morning with it going through my head. Have you asked what the girls are doing for feminine hygiene? I literally gasped because I hadn't asked. Ran to the computer to ask, learned that nothing, they would wait in their rooms. They were so crowded. It turned out they were sitting on pieces of cardboard. That is not what happens everywhere, but that's what was happening for them then. It's different all over the world, even where we live right now. And today, we have reached more than 3.1 million women and girls in 145 countries on 7 continents. So here's the truth. That tiny inspiration, that tiny question turned out to have global need. I didn't know that, but I do know to listen. And I do know to invite others, that everything we do, we don't have to do it alone. That's a whole point. That's why we're here on earth. And so I got the gift of inviting people to be part of it. And today, this book shares all the impacts, how we got there, how the movement built, and my background, including that childhood moment how I learned to trust people to come together, how I learned to trust that we can build solutions that matter by listening and questioning, and then listening for what works and what doesn't work, how that all happened. And it's such a gift to get messages from people around the world that this has meant so much to them in their lives. And it's been a miracle. How did this movement happen? Because people talked about something none of us want to talk about. Let's be honest, menstruation. It's one of the leading taboo subjects that we don't want to talk about. And yet that very thing held one of the keys to reversing cycles of poverty and abuse and limitations that didn't need to be there, don't need to be there. And so we get to work for a day when periods are never a problem for anyone. And that's one of the keys to what I get to do with this beautiful life. All of us never know which door is going to be the key to your legacy. And that's the beauty of it. We just get to dance full out, live, trust, ask, and do the next step, the next best decision. Because it's not about all the staircase at once. It really is the next best decision, one by one, and lean in where your heart feels called.
Wow. That is so true right there. That we don't know where the staircase is leading. We know it's leading, to fulfill our destiny and why we were created, if we will just listen and follow our heart and just have the courage, the resiliency through the moments of life that need it, and trust and community. This is what everything I'm hearing right now. And that we're created to do this together. We can't. So
Mm-hmm.
in my younger days, I don't know if you ever felt this. Did you ever have a moment where you saw the vision, but it was so much bigger than you, and then you felt so small? Did you ever have that moment? Because I used to.
Absolutely. And that feeling of why me? I'm not worthy, or I'm not qualified. And when those things come, that's when you get to say, or maybe your very weakness is the reason you're called to this. Maybe the very way you were made, maybe that weakness makes you more curious, more humble, more able to ask the right questions. Maybe that very weakness is why you're the recipient of it, so you can, be part of the puzzle with others. We tend to judge ourselves and even judge those sparks of what's ahead of you is this. And you're like, oh no, I can't even see the path for that. Seeing the path is not the point. Not at all. That's just one step at a time. Trusting that there's a path for you. That is the point. Trusting that you're not going to mess it up. The whole point of this earth experience is to mess it up. It's to learn. And every time you make a mistake, it's only a mistake. I know this is cliche, but it's true. It's only a mistake if you don't learn the lesson. It's just failing forward. Everything we did with Days for Girls, the global nonprofit, I have such a joy to have been part of founding. I always say part because technically I'm the really good listener who pays attention, shows up, and keeps working. I mean, it was totally inspired, and I just leaned all in because my background made me understand how important this is. It was clear for me. Thank goodness, right? I'm not saying everything that happens to us is absolutely a great thing. I'm saying that for me, with the Lord, He can turn anything
Well,
to
I want to interject right there because the Lord does turn everything for good. He
everything.
certainly does. And already through your story, I can see so many moments of personal experiences of maybe it was a moment of feeling darkness or abandoned or not good enough through the years, but the very reason why you would be inspired to care so passionately about helping other people in a difficult situation, and it turned into this global project. So when did you get started with the project? And wow, it's so huge. Not only that, but people all around the world are coming together in community to create these products, these
True.
feminine hygiene products that are sustainable and reusable, and then shipping it to 7 continents. I didn't even know that. I thought it was only in Africa. And so this has really been a way to tie people around the world through community serving one another. That's so beautiful. So when did this get started?
In 2008, 15 years ago on November
Wow.
1st. And you're so right. The beauty of it has been how everyone has come together, how you can know that you can make a difference with your own 2 hands and your own advocacy. And also we don't just send it somewhere because a lot of refugees are getting emergency situations and through suitcases. And also the gift of building entrepreneurship opportunities where people live so that they can be the leader and they can be the solution. And we all lean in to support each other in this wherever we live. So it's not about coming from the outside and rescuing, it's about joining arms and be committed to change. And and honestly, the awareness that it didn't have to be otherness serving, but togetherness serving was
Mm.
because I got to be other. I got to have people look at me and say, you know, oh goodness, this woman needs help or this girl needs help. And instead of, what do you see? What do you think could happen here? And
Wow.
so because of those experiences, I knew, no, we're all key to the solution. It's about all of us coming together. Again, what a gift over and over again. And here's what I know for sure. We sometimes we get a choice in the moment between something that happens to us and the moment we decide what it means. We get a choice to interpret that. And that's a powerful moment because we can decide to limit ourselves. And honestly, are you going to believe in God or are you going to believe God? That you can ask for what you want, that you can ask
Ooh.
for the strength, ask for the wisdom, you can ask for the understanding, you can ask for the partnership. You do not have to limit yourself. So if someone says something cruel, you can actually go, that's interesting. Deep breath. I'm really curious about how that will play out. And I have no control over what they think. And I may not have even understood what they just said. I might have just misinterpreted it. So what if I just use that for strength and let that, I'll interpret it later. Because right now in this moment, the first responder is my amygdala, that part of our brain that does safety decisions that are in a moment negative by default. Huh, that's interesting. Wonder how I interpret that later. Or go back to something that's happened to you and go, I, at that moment, decided that that meant that I was not enough. And in actuality, thank you for the strength of that moment. I'm grateful for what I learned from it. And in this moment, I'm declaring that aha that changed my life. We get to decide what those moments mean to us. We really, truly do. And best of all, you already make a decision about what you're suitable for, what you're worthy of. And what if you make a new decision? You can. And in those powerful little micro decisions is your future, because you lock doors without realizing it. And we can go back to moments and go, actually, I am capable and I'm able to create my legacy. It is ahead of me. And if I refuse to step up to it, it will work out for me. But what limitations might I put on a future for others that I could partner with, a future I could build better for others and help others? Do I want to limit that? And I know for me, the answer is always no. I want to go all in. And I can tell you that, see these twinkles I have, I don't call them wrinkles. These twinkles that I have, I earn them by having joy in the process of saying yes to all the possibilities and being okay with the times it didn't go right and being okay with embracing the lesson and journey. Because the truth is, what is in store for you is way more magnificent than you could ever invent.
That is the truth right there. That is the truth. Wow. That is so magical. Now, you said something that I'm very intrigued about that I want to lean into, which is not coming in from the outside. And I think that is a key right there. That is a key, because I know that I don't always just give cash to people that I see out and about. Because I think that empowering people is more long lasting, sustainable. So can you talk more about that? And then also, you mentioned entrepreneurship. I
Mm-hmm.
love that you were like, let me just ask them, the ones who I want to give to, what their ideas are. So talk more about that.
For me, things are sustainable when people support what they create, right? So if you're coming from, in any solution, even in your family, if you're coming from only your viewpoint, then you're asking them to come create your vision, right? How much stronger is it if you say, okay, this is my reasoning for this. What do you see would work, like over and over again? How do you feel we should plan who does the dishes? How do you feel? Okay, so we have a plan. All right. And then you have agreement, right? But
Yeah.
in the case of the entrepreneurship, wow, what a puzzle, because we didn't just have to figure out who's going to do this, which parts are you going to do. It was more a process of listening, like, how is this education curriculum for you? What are you hearing? What are you missing? What would you like to have in here? And then have them be part of teaching it, right? And in the case of making products, it's supply chain. It's how to keep financial things sustainable when maybe they've not had any more than pocket change and they spend it right that minute for the next food. So how do you teach keep some so you can get more supplies to make some? And so in teaching that in a way that you're inquiring what they need and then building it together, this meant that it is their program and people support what they create. So
Wow.
always making it about the team purpose, like together we can help every girl everywhere, period, everyone, in a way that's just find the best way to make this product. We've been through more than 30 iterations, how to find and it holds 2 patents for the genius of listening and creating together, how to, in really hard circumstances, how to make this work sustainably. And that had to be a lot of collaborative listening. It's easy to skip over that process because it's the hard way to do it. But it is the way to make sure that those who are part of it are invested in a way that's not just about money. It's about a purpose. And when you're driving from purpose, you get up at 4 a.m. because you're excited for the next
Right.
day's results, right?
That's right.
And so that's what it was about. And I had understanding of that because I had lived through opportunities where people were not asking. People didn't see me even because I was a
Mm.
girl, because I was a woman, because I didn't have, because I wasn't the right color, or right ethnicity. I am several ethnicities that easily get overlooked. I don't look like it on the outside, but I was in those communities, and I just got to see again and again our propensity to make people other. We don't have any business doing that because that is limiting not one of us, but all of us. When
Mhm.
we look at each other, not as outside, but as what can happen when we come together and try to see the wisdom in others, try to listen for it and recognize it and show them we are genuinely interested in your genius. We see you. Then amazing miracles happen. That's not just a statement. Like, this whole book is full of proof.
Wow. Wow. Now, I'm very curious.
Hmm.
When you come to these, are they villages? So let's, at least it started out in villages, I'm assuming. And do you see that, has enough time passed where you see this going through the generations, where even though you started with them in 2008 or whenever, did it keep going? Because now it's not an outsider giving a solution that's very temporary and fleeting, because they could
Mhm.
just use it up. It's not their idea. This is everything you're talking about. But now we're coming in and creating through community with the community so that they can grow roots with it and keep it going. And now you're really changing the community for generations. That gives me, like, my heart is so, like, full from
Mhm.
hearing about that. Is that what's happening?
It is. It is what's happening. It's continuing to grow. At the end of 2021, I think, I don't have the numbers right in front of me, we were at 2 million and we just crossed 3.1. In October, we were at 3 million, I think, late October, early October. And we just crossed 3.1 million. So that's about the growing momentum of it, right? And there we do see communities where it's growing within the community, and leaders have grown up from it,
Wow.
grown with it, gone on to serve in their governments, and gone on to continue to do this. It's amazing to me,
So
and that
gorgeous.
that is the gift of the power of we, making it about this shared things, but not taking away their personal initiative, right? And and I don't know about you, but that's miraculous.
That's
I am so grateful, and I can't even tell you how moving it is. Sorry, to recognize that that came in part of humility I learned. And I came across a study where a woman said, she's coming in to rescue everybody, and here's how she did it wrong. And it was way back from like 2014. And
about you.
yeah, about me. And I had to, at first, part of me went, ouch. And then I went, this is so not true.
Right,
And
that
that's
gap
what
in between.
everything, right? And I was so grateful because it's so easy to look at a community, at an individual, and importantly, ourselves,
Yeah.
and judge, without leaning in and listening, and without taking the next step to find out more. And I know with all of my heart and soul that you can lean in more. You can trust. And it doesn't matter what someone else thinks. At the beginning of Days for Girls, there were people that said, one guy said, I can't figure out how you're so successful. I was telling my friend, you're a bunch of ragtag housewives, and I can't figure out how you're multiplying so quickly with your effects. And I'm like, really? Or the other people said, I heard that we should have you come speak, but I just learned about what you speak about. I don't think we can have you come. Or, this isn't really, we were going to donate to this, but we just learned about what you're talking about and doing. And, actually, while we all decided that together, we don't think we want to be associated with that. And to have it go from that to being a global movement that far outreaches even what we're government partners, and thousands of other groups taking it on as well. And to see that shift, when you say yes, with all your heart. It doesn't matter how big the outcome is. It doesn't matter how many ripples it takes. It matters that you said yes. It matters that you brought your strengths, your weaknesses, and just kept asking, what's next for me? So today, I'm not the CEO of Days for Girls anymore. About almost 2 years ago now, I stepped away and said, here you go. Secession is actually proof of success. And I knew in all my heart, it's time. And so I'm doing Days for Girls. I support Days for Girls. This book is about Days for Girls, a message that I'm speaking has it in it. And we aren't the things we do, our job, we are the path we're taking. We are the beautiful opportunity to use our energy and talents to move forward. And our legacy is not just right now in the things and the titles and the awards. It is actually the beauty of the energy we're willing to connect with others. It's your willingness to say yes to any change that will take you to more of the path and things you're meant to do. So when I look at my life and some of the things in my bio, I delight in them. I'm grateful for them. I'm amazed by them. And it's the and I'm still here on earth. So I am not done by any measure. I'm excited about whatever little, small, big part of my journey is going to surprise me next. I'm all in. And it's the end all in. It's the vision that chooses what you're going to focus on. Are you going to focus on the negative things in our world? Or are you going to say, actually, I would love these things to happen. And I'm watching for the next aha because I'm all in.
She is all in. Guys, we're going to take a quick little break, but what I heard her say was saying yes and going all in. But saying yes to what? Saying yes to God, listening, the way that she was able to be so resilient from moving so much in her childhood to overcoming challenging moments and then serving on such a grand scale across the globe and continuing to do so. That was only chapter 1. It's because of the intentional listening, saying yes, and just taking the next step. So we'll be right back. Don't go away because we want to give you some takeaways, some more golden nuggets. We'll be right back. Are you a change maker, yearning to make a difference in the world? Let Celeste Mergens, best-selling author, founder of award-winning nonprofit Days for Girls International, help you unleash the greatness inside you. Go to celestemergens.com because one person can make a difference. Let it be you. Did you know that I have a nonprofit serving women and children leaving abuse? Wings to Fly Foundation is helping women with housing, healing, and help so they can be liberated to fulfill their destiny. Go to Million Dollar Destiny TV and click on philanthropy to see more. All right, guys, welcome back. We were just talking about, before this break, we were talking about saying yes to God, that no matter how big the vision and how it could make you feel excited or maybe sometimes a little bit small, like how can I possibly do that? Just say yes. Just listen, follow your heart, and take the next step. And before you know it, you'll be able to look at your life and say, wow, I got to participate in that. And it's because I look at it like I'm in the car, God's driving, or sometimes I'm in the driver's seat, but it's always about God as the navigator and the door opener. And it's great. But now, Celeste, I'd love to talk more about the idea of, is it selfish at this point in time when there's wars and rumors of wars and the economy and all these things happening around us? Is it selfish to think about building our legacy?
Oh, I'm with you. It is absolutely not. In fact, it is absolutely imperative more than ever that we do. We cannot limit the good that can be in the world because we're afraid to shine. We cannot choose. I mean, you can choose, but please do not choose to limit the possibilities of all the legacy to come, not just for you, but for your family, for those that will be inspired for you, for the life and joy and hope you can pass to others. Please lean all in. Say yes. It's really easy to get discouraged, especially right now. So many messages are asking us to focus on what we hate. Do you hate this? Because I hate that too. Good, we're together. We need to flip that narrative around to no, actually, I love this. I'm grateful for this. I also see grateful for that. And I would love to see this fill in blank thing that is so huge that it sparks a giggle in your soul to think about it happening. Yes, wouldn't that be amazing? It
Yes.
doesn't have to be about just money or just name or just, it's not that. It's whatever it is that gets your whole soul excited and you just want to start right now. When you find those things and invite others, what if we could do this? We could do this. And they'll, oh no, when this point, no, you cannot do that. That's impossible. I don't know about you, but when someone tries to tell me something's impossible or I can't do it, I'm like, watch me,
Really?
right?
I
It's not only
Was
should we,
that
it's our responsibility because
Yeah.
you came with unique gifts. You came with unique talents. You came with a unique desire in your heart. It's our responsibility. We came to this earth to be change makers, to build beauty, and all the rest is just a lie. That's what I believe.
I believe the same as well, 100%. And that now more than ever, the more division there is, it's very clear that to me there's just two sides. There's the
Mhm.
kingdom of darkness and there's the kingdom of light. And you really have to pick which side you want to be on. And there is no gray. I used to think that I could pick and choose the good things and like make my own concept. But now, as I get deeper and deeper into my walk and relationship and practice every single day to have that relationship and press into the Lord, it is very clear that there's no gray. And you cannot just like, let's just take the Bible, for instance. You can't just pick one verse or two and say, oh, those are the ones I want and not take the rest. Like if you take one, you got to take the whole thing. And that's not easy because walking that path of righteousness, it's not easy to be in this world and not be of it. And during this time where things are so divisive, that's especially the time to focus on our legacy, on why God created us and put us on this planet right now, is to anchor in the light on the planet so we could be that example and shine. Now is the time to shine so that others have the permission to shine and others can come out. Your light can shine on the darkness. Others can come out with courage and say, hey, that feels good. I want to be in the light. I want to shine too. Be like, great. I want you to shine. Let's go. Right?
Mhm. Right, absolutely, absolutely.
Ah,
And when you're choosing that, it doesn't mean that you need to make everybody else wrong. In
correct.
fact, people don't change from a place of being made wrong.
Mm,
People but rather that you just choose to shine and invite people. And if people aren't lining up, then you go next because so for instance, menstrual equity, this is one of those things that divides like I'm not going there, right? Instead of being offended by that, you can say, actually, thank you. I hope you get to do all the beautiful things you have. And the next, right? Because
yeah.
you're building opportunities and beautiful things. And what we focus on comes into focus. And so if we're able to focus on the things we really want, that that creates more of it. So absolutely just choose. We can choose light. We can choose love. We can choose to make the world a better place. Period. That's all there is to it. We don't have to settle for the things happening here that are contrary to what our heart and soul desire to see happen.
So true. And I love the simplicity. I'm coming to find now, not just in life, but in relationships and parenting and business and everything, because how we do one thing is how we do everything. I'm finding more and more that simplicity is so powerful. It makes it easy to do. It makes you want to keep doing it. And there's just a flow that comes with simplicity. And so the simplicity of just flipping the script of instead of connecting based on division, like, oh, well, we're in this category because we're oppressed. You're oppressed. I'm oppressed. So let's come together because we're oppressed and let's like rally about that. But instead, we can just a small, tiny shift.
Yes.
And if it's gardening, if it's painting, if it's just having tea or being a connoisseur of, I don't know, scotch, I have no idea. But whatever it is that you are feeling inspired by, and then you come together with another, at least one other, that's powerful. And little by
Mm.
little, it grows. And you know what?
What?
Back to Days for Girls, when you started, I imagine that it was like you started small and then
Yeah,
it grew. Yeah.
absolutely. And some people didn't believe it could be true, right? That the issue of menstrual inequity was even happening. And I recently heard that one friend of mine said, we all thought you were crazy when you first brought this up. And I said, really? I thought she was my friend. Um, and the truth is, it's okay if people don't understand.
Yeah.
It's okay if people don't see the vision that you see.
Yeah.
It's completely okay. What matters is that you see it clearly and that you can just invite those who do see it, do recognize it. And little by little, more and more, I would ask them, go find out. Ask around to the places you serve. Are you seeing this as an issue in India and Guatemala? And
Mm.
little by little, they kept coming back. Yeah, we have this here too. I didn't know. And
Wow.
I would completely be able to say, I didn't know either. You want to help? And so,
Wow.
so building from the beginning with the idea of the end in mind. So when I first said my goal is every girl everywhere, period, people laughed. A consultant said, okay, let's do something measurable and achievable. So please know, as a business minded woman, I had measurable and achievable in mind. And always, if this is your goal, what can you do on scale? What can you do that will make a difference and allow other people to replicate it, like the entrepreneurship? What can you do to make that come into light? And so, always along the path, I was bouncing back to, with this goal, what lever will reach the most and create the most impact? Always with the big goal in mind and the plans of action that focused on scale so it could replicate and people could share the messaging and share the plan and share. So always the big goal in mind, but the small steps to get there was the way that we built it.
That is so gorgeous. That is so amazing. And again, that is chunking it to a place where it's simple to see. And
Absolutely.
and that's like I can see the natural teacher in you is that having so what she said is have always build with the end in mind and have the big picture, the end in mind as you chunk it down to little steps to get you there. And it's never a straight line. Nothing in life is a straight line. Everything is a spiral. So it's just like you keep pivoting and pivoting, kind of like a rocket ship going from Earth to the moon. It's going to
Yeah.
pivot a bunch of times, recalculate, and that's okay. That's normal. And so you're listening to the community of what the pain points are, and
Yes.
then you're listening to their ideas of how to collaborate and solve it. And
Yeah.
then there's a piece where you're teaching on education. And where's the entrepreneurial? So the entrepreneurial is them creating it, sourcing the material, and selling it.
Yes. Well, creating jobs for those that are helping them make them, marketing it to local nonprofits or chieftains or government officials, and also Days for Girls supporters. Or if you donate to Days for Girls, that goes to creating more kits, supporting more of getting kits even from entrepreneurs of Days for Girls enterprises, and creating more of advocacy in all that we do. Did you know that it is actually a thing that you are charged luxury taxes on period products? I mean, that's absurd, but it
Wow.
happens all over. And so it's advocating for things like that as well. The entrepreneur part is to help a place in the world where there are not necessarily readily period products available at a price that they can afford. They're making something they can count on month after month. Our products last 2 to 4 years, as much as 7 years, and that it always comes with the education. So we're able to create jobs helping people to make them and create a business in educating people, providing the products, and helping their community have conversations that shatters the stigma and shame. It's
Wow.
not easy, but it's powerful.
Wow. Wow. I'm blown away, Celeste. This is so incredibly amazing because it's breaking, like you're saying, shattering the stigma around something that happens naturally. Instead of
Yeah,
having a woman sit on a cardboard box or a piece of cardboard.
right?
No,
Or even
no.
use feathers or mattress stuffings or wait in a shed or be, use pads for too long or try to wash a disposable single use and reuse it and master stuffing and just making do all over the world. Um, there we can do better. And that's what we're creating, options.
Amazing. So, what's next for you? Do you have any inkling? Are you disclosing
Well,
yet?
I've been on the book tour for The Power of Days. My
Yeah,
next stops are New York City and Boise.
got it.
And I'm actually writing some other things as well. And I am actually building a coalition for change. So my vision is that we find people who are change makers and help more of us recognize that we actually can do some really big, audacious things. If you can build a global movement around something we don't even want to talk about and have it work, what if we built global movements around things that are very frightening to us, around ending wars, around helping economic things go better, around climate change, around what if we did that together? What if we just decided, let's get it done? I am working on a coalition to take on big things that are challenges now and build solutions that work, that we can all have hope in. That's what I'm doing.
I am so excited. Well, I'm a huge supporter. Anything I can do to participate, to be part of, to connect
Thank,
you to, like, it. I am like that girl behind you.
thank
That is so
you.
exciting. Thank you for doing this work in the world. I mean, what it sounds like is you've already reached a point of, well, because you listened and said yes and did it. And you're just going to continue. And you've had years of being able to do that with communities all around the globe to a high level of success, to the point where you can step away from being the CEO and now go to the next level of what God is calling you to do on I'm seeing like a network around the globe to
Yeah.
a totally different degree than what you've already accomplished, which on its own is huge already. So I'm excited to see where this is going to go. Now, does this have to do with the church work?
Oh, I'm also getting the gift of that. My husband, Don, and I are serving missions. We've just been called for 3 years to be service mission leaders. So this is leading young missionaries that are helping with service to show that they're dedicated to Christ. So they're working at homeless shelters, they're working at pet shelters, they're working at in lots of different kinds of service, and we get to coordinate that service with them. So that's amazing. Wanted to do that my whole life. Basically, let's be honest. I'm feeling so blessed. I get to do all the things. Who gets to do all the things? And that is the power of yes. Because this was a homeless girl. This is a woman who has had, and the book covers this, has had the equivalent of a stroke after a seizure that was almost 45 minutes long, who has had health challenges and family challenges, and really witness over and over again that even in your greatest weaknesses, you can be qualified if you just say yes, if you just keep listening, if you just turn your whole life over to God and say, "You've got this. I'm excited. Count me in." I am amazed, and I that's what a lot of people are reporting they're finding in this book. Hope for their own journey. It's amazing what happens. It truly, truly is.
Well, because there is a verse, I don't think I can pull it up fast enough, but there's a verse in the Bible that talks about it's in our weakness
Yeah.
that God or Christ can perfect us or show through and come and fill in. So that's
Your
amazing.
weaknesses become strengths.
Yeah.
It's true. So that's I am like, if you need proof, here it is. I am so grateful. It is 100% true. And he called David to go and take care of Goliath. He's the smallest, right? He wasn't the champion you would choose. Don't disqualify yourself, because the truth is those weaknesses leave a spot for all the light to shine in. You can do this, and that's amazing.
Oh, that's amazing. That's incredible. Wow. Okay. Well, I just want to thank you so much, Celeste. I know you're traveling all across the nation promoting your book. Can you show it one more time and tell
Sure.
people where to get it and where to contact you?
The Power of Days, I actually just bought this one at Barnes and Noble. I had to do it. I mean, I just had to go in and ask. I didn't even tell them I was the author.
Oh my gosh.
And and you can get it on Amazon. It has over 110 5-star reviews that people just
Beautiful.
left. How cool is that? And it really is proof of what we're talking about. This is proof. And I have to warn you though, a lot of people are saying they can't sleep because they can't put it down. A lot of people are forwarding that in messages to me, but it'll be worth it. And there are some hard parts at the beginning because there were hard parts of my life. But please remember, you've seen me. I am more than okay. It all turns out perfect.
So more than perfect, because that's only chapter 1 and chapter 2. The rest is still ahead, and we're so excited for future episodes to get an update on how the coalition and the missionary work is going. So thank
Thank
you again, Celeste. Can't wait till the next time.
So glad to be here with you.
Thanks. Bye.
Goodbye.
All right, guys. Wow. I hope that you were as blown away as I was and got a lot of golden nuggets of how important it really is that during a time in the world like this, where it's so easy to feel overwhelmed, stressed out, depressed, all the things that are negative, that the solution is actually to turn inward and upward and listen and focus on why we were created, what is our destiny and legacy, and go ahead and fulfill it, because that is the solution that's going to help change the world today. All right, you guys, make sure you come back next week. We're going to talk to some more high caliber experts that are going to help you tap into the frequency of money, wealth, and legacy as you fulfill your destiny. Bye.